over the last couple of years, fishing without live bait when you're vertical jigging in rivers, especially Detroit River, has become extremely popular. But there's 5 basic body shapes you need to have in your box. Each one's going to catch you fish at different times, with 5 key body shapes you need to make sure you have every day you're on the river. Try each one. The fish will tell you every day which body shape is the best. I'm Captain Lance Valentine. I'm teachingfishing.com. Let me spend a few minutes going over my 5 favorite body shapes for jig fishing in heavy current. First one is a basic worm. This is day in and day out one of our best producers on any river body of water that we fish. It imitates small eels in the longer size, and if we pinch it off, it imitates small minnows like the darters or the small, really skinny minnows that actually live in the river, that live close to the bottom, that fish love. You can't go wrong with a 4.5, 5-inch minnow, sometimes cut down to about 3 inches. A 3 to 5 inch worm shape is one of your all day, everyday go-tos, something you should have on the water every single day you're fishing. Lots of days it's your best shape. Next, I like to carry what I call a jerk minnow. This is a little 4-inch minnow. It has a forked tail, a lot more action than the worm, and has a thicker body. It's my favorite when there's small shad in the system, and if there's lots of shiner minnows. This little jerk minnow is one of my favorite imitators and something that I fish every day. One of the folks in my boat always starts the day with a jerk minnow, because some days this can be the best bait to catch a lot of fish. Next, I use this 4-inch, it's called a bio minnow, made by our friends at Big Bite Baits. It's a 4-inch heavy-bodied minnow. This is a solid plastic. It's not, no air in it. It's a solid piece of plastic. It's extremely heavy. The key to this bait is extremely big and has a big profile. It moves a lot of water. It's my favorite when fish are really close to the bottom. You'll see a lot of walleyes with red on their chin, or you'll catch a lot of darters or gobies on your stinger hook. Anytime walleyes are feeding on perch, gobies, sculpins, bait that lives in the rocks and lives close to the bottom, this 4-inch bio minnow is my favorite bait. It's got a big head, real heavy shape, fish is close to the bottom, fish is heavy, a great bait to get those fish out of the rocks. Body we started using about 2 years ago, it's become one of my favorites for big fish, is a disc worm. It's a worm that has rings or disc on it, creates a lot of movement in the water. It's one of my favorites in dirty water and one of my favorites in low light conditions. Has a little twister tail on it, so a little bit of action. But this has become, over the last couple of years, one of my favorite big fish baits. So make sure you add a disc worm or a ring worm into your arsenal. Fish it a lot of days, you're going to be surprised how many fish you catch on this. And last but not least is when there's big shad in the system, I want a jig to fall extremely slow, or I'm fishing just for big fish, or I'm fishing in bad weather conditions, a big front come through, and I want my jig to fall slow. I'll go to this big 4-inch shad tail. Big, heavy, thick body, big, heavy tail, falls extremely slow, creates a large profile, lets fish have a lot of time to actually suck it in on a slack line. Great for bad weather conditions or for big fish. So these 5 shapes are going to catch you fish every day on the river. Make sure you have these 5. Fish them, let the fish tell you what you want. So make sure you've got a 4.5, 5-inch worm that you can pinch down to about 3 inches. Make sure you've got something that imitates a minnow, like this 4-inch jerk minnow. Make sure you've got something that imitates big, heavy, thick-bodied bait that lives close to the bottom, like a 4-inch bio minnow. Make sure you've got something that makes a lot of noise, like a ringworm or a disc worm with a little twister tail on it. Great for big fish and great for low light conditions. And then also make sure you've got a big, ugly, heavy body that falls extremely slow, has a big tail, makes a lot of noise. Get those 5 bodies in your box. Forget about color. Start with the body shapes first. Figure out what the fish want every day. Then start worrying about color. Get the right body shape figured out. You'll catch a lot more fish every time you're jigging in heavy current. Pay attention to the shape. Makes a difference every day.